Oh, no, too far. Rebuild the country. The Great American Revolution is over, but unless something is done, the wounds we have torn open in this country will continue to fester and bleed. We must work with haste to build up an egalitarian, equal, and enduring America from the ruins of the old. And this will start the process of Reconstruction for us. Yeah, like I said, I need to start Reconstruction. And rearmament, too. Explosives, invisible ink. Small ones first. Okay, that should be. What's the war down south doing? It's really kind of in a stalemate. Yes, another Federalist bombing. This time, in Massachusetts again. Didn't think they'd be going here. How many wars are going on right now? A few. Oh, yeah, my mistake. It's not Peru or Bolivia that's in there, it's Chile. That's the part of the war, so got that one wrong a little bit. Longest in Wisconsin's. Bastards. Attacking my home state. We'll take care of them at some point. This is a bloody war down here. I didn't realize how many casualties Argentina's taken. Actually gonna remove the fog of war here. Oh, that didn't work. Never mind. I guess there isn't a fog of war command out, or I just don't know it, but I was hoping that would allow us to actually see what's going on here. Fortunately, with the action done over on our end in America, the only action that's really going on here is pretty much in this part of the world, in all honesty. While up north here, Russia's making some pretty good ground in Finland. It really is. Pretty much, they're taking over a good portion of Lapland. It's starting to suffer a little bit. Oh. Yeah, one other thing too, actually, I forgot to mention is that the Socialist Republic of Italy here was actually able to take over Sardinia. One faction of Italy is taken over. Paul Robson takes the world tour. The hiatus of Paul Robson took from acting to pursue social causes in the past year has greatly expanded his popularity. With a powerful voice and strong support for international syndicalism, Robson has become the Marian Anderson of socialists in America. Just like Anderson before, he has chosen to embark on a world tour despite his music and support for the African American rights to his stops include the Union of Britain, Commune of France, the SRI. These European audiences, while in contact with the wider world, still find the attraction of black singers to be exotic. Bon voyage, Robson. banner here? Oh, it's the Belgians that have taken over it. Actually, kind of surprised how far that the Russians are making. Progress is steady and swift here. Yeah, then again, they did kind of finish their revolution a lot earlier than they had before. Before it was... Yeah, they were still going on when we ended the Civil War. They had only gotten up to the Urals. And the new game I had to do to bring it back to where we were, they unfortunately... Well, actually, not unfortunately, they were able to complete it by the end of 1937. So by 1938, they were all united under the Red Banner. Then they had reached the Black Sea there. I'm guessing the Brits are making landings here than Norway. The Norwegians have a little bit of a territory there yet. Building the nation. Begin Reconstruction. The Civil War has blasted our country to pieces. Large parts of the rural country are naught but mud and ashes, while countless cities have been reduced to smoldering rubble. We shall set to work developing new housing and infrastructure as soon as possible. Let's start that. And hopefully then too we can start rebuilding the various sections of the country here then one by one. Which will be good because it'll increase our industrial capacity quite a bit. A lot of it's been destroyed at the moment, and we still do have a pretty large base once it's all completely repaired. Oops. Kind of doing these smaller ones first since our industry is a little limited at the moment. Longest bombing, this time in West Virginia. Shall crush those terrorists. In the premiere of God Save King Billy. Today, Charlie Chaplin has premiered another movie titled God Save King Billy, which has quickly received glowing reviews within the press. God Save King Billy is a political satirical comedy drama and Chaplin's first true sound film. The film follows two principal characters, an unnamed German barber struggling to make ends meet in Germany, who bears a great deal of similarity with the tramp that Chaplin played in his other movies. The other major character is King Billy, who is a cruel but ineffective buffoon of a leader, and obviously satire of King Wilhelm II. Throughout the film, it shows the plight of the average German worker while viciously mocking the German government and the Kaiser in particular. The film ends with the barber being mistaken for King Billy and giving a rousing speech where he extols the virtues of goodwill and human brotherhood and gives a strong endorsement for Chaplin's socialist views. Chaplin has outdone himself. So it's essentially a Kaiserreich version of the one movie that he did where he, instead of mocking the Kaiser, he instead mocks Hitler. Unfortunately, at the moment, is kind of drawing a blank as to what the title of that movie is, but I know what speech they're referring to there. It's a really good speech, honestly. Hello. The wars broke. Oh, yeah, the Dominion and the Commune in India were at war with each other before. I forgot about that. Well, now it would appear that the whatever you want to call this one, the Hyderabad, I think that's how you pronounce it, is running in two. Interesting. And Venezuela has capitulated. That war ends. They're likely going to release them then. Yep, they did. They're a part of the Entente. Gives them a little bit of a boost. Yeah, they definitely have a lot of oil at their disposal now. Ooh. Hello. West Indies Federation. Federalist bombing, this time in Illinois. It appears that the West Indies have had a syndicalist revolution. That's one less enemy to worry about then on our end. Yeah, that's good, though. Alright. Okay, what was it that... Oh. It's ended here. Now the ciphers then this time. That was awfully bold of the Brits. They landed in the Netherlands here. They're probably going to get repelled pretty fast there, though. The Catholic Workers' Movement. While a good number of religious Americans have protested the effects of the revolution, that is not entirely true for all groups. Of these groups, the only one that have attracted the most attention and popularity recently is the Catholic Workers' Movement, led by Comrade Dorothy Day. The movement has attracted popularity for combining Catholicism with socialist values. They focus on the concept of workers of mercy, as well as have built a number of hospitality houses in major cities. Hospitality houses are acting as support shelters for those trying to return to civilian life now that the revolution has come to fruition. Helps our cause too. Essentially, this is the political map of Europe at the moment. Most countries, save for Switzerland, have chosen a side for the most part. Be curious to see if Austria stays neutral or not. Personally, I hope they kind of intervene, but who knows. Here's two that Bolivia has. Oh, yeah, now they join in with the Argentinians. That'll definitely come in handy with the war, though. It extends the front tremendously. Now Brazil has to contend with them over here now, too. So, it's fine. Any phase of Reconstruction should be finishing up here. Construction. Mexican operative captured. Valeriano Ruiz has been caught attempting to infiltrate our administration and leak secret information back to his superiors. They have a way of making you talk. I'm not worried too much about that one. But, first things first, though, we need to continue on with Reconstruction. We'll start with the South Atlantic states here. That'll essentially help deal with all the states around Washington, as well as kind of the southern coast here. So, start to increase our... And then at the same time, since we're starting to reconstruct the states in the South, we'll also deal with the America First and their fascist cronies. The Huey Long's foul crew of reactionary demagogues, heartless industrialists, and tyrannical generals will finally stand trial. Although the Kingfish himself has escaped capture, we'll eagerly dish out a fair punishment to everyone who collaborated with him. And we'll start those trials immediately. What? Yeah, let's improve working conditions too. Help increase our stability a little bit. Ciphering is done. The ciphering round 2. It looks like the Germans have managed to take Calais. And at the same time, the Irish were able to repel that British expedition. The territory seems to be in control here, though. parts of the Navy don't need to build yet, though. Yeah, I'll just have them keep making what they've been making, though, for now. I need to... Hang on. Where's the... There it is. Have them just do some... I have to do this for... Grapes of Wrath premiere. Today, the film Grapes of Wrath premiered in theaters today. The film is based on the book of the same name by a accumulated patriotic author, John Steinbeck. The story follows the Jodes, a family from Oklahoma, and their troubles during the Depression prior to the Revolution. The story illustrates the weight that federally enforced capitalism puts on to their average lives and drags their traditional values through the mud of reality. This movie does deviate from the book with the ending on a much more optimistic tone, showing the family working for the revolution overthrow their California work camp. The titular Tom Joad chooses to stay with his family instead of fleeing into the night, declaring his intention to set up a Red Guard in California to reclaim his farm in Oklahoma. The film has been well regarded by both critics and the public as a necessary edit, and it is a film for the masses. And as I was trying to do before, just had them do some naval exercises. I need to increase experience too, because I'm gonna need to remake some of our ship models here. I'm gonna modernize everything. That's more advanced carriers. But as the naval doctrine I'm going through here suggests, I want carriers to be the primary thing that I use. And this time we have Harrison, Ohio. I'll get them soon. There we go. Perfect. Yeah, one thing too I should probably mention as well is that one of the changes that they made to the mod is actually involves when you manage to get the Canadians to back down when they intervene in the war. Is that when I had the peace talks, I had the option to annex New Brunswick as well as Nova Scotia. However, just to keep it with what I had before, I decided not to. But just an interesting little note that I found, and I honestly like that. So I think let's then go to the Dutch East Indies instead. There we go. Much better. How are we doing on? Okay, it's at the Panama Canal building then. I definitely need to rebuild the army at some point. So at the moment, we're basically just stuck with these divisions here. Basically, two full... yeah, those two are full stacks of tanks. And then we have two full stacks of infantry plus these other 6 divisions, as well as the motorized divisions there. Probably gonna have to edit these at some point too. Don't really have to worry about that too much though at the moment. People's Conservation Committee. Since the 1916 National Park Service Act, Americans have been able to preserve natural splendor safe from industrialization. Since the revolution has now been achieved, the movement has cropped up to combine this conservationism with old progressive ideals. A number of new national parks have been created on top of the houses of capitalism, as well as a People's Conservation Committee to guide their preservation. A top priority of the PCC is to replant trees in the Midwest, the source of the dust storms that threaten our food supply. Though it took a lot of convincing to get Congress to fund this project, PCC hopes that in a few years the dust storms that used to reach Washington, D.C. will only be a memory. So it's essentially the syndicalist version of the Civilian Conservation Corps Committee, which it was essentially the same thing. It was started under Roosevelt in the 30s. It planted a lot of trees in the Midwest and offered a good number of jobs, too, to help bring down unemployment. One of several policies that FDR passed that I really liked. And for those who don't know, FDR is actually my favorite American president. The US definitely needs another president like FDR. Alright. Now it's time to destroy Jim Crow once and for all. Ridding ourselves of the Southern terrorists will not just be a matter of military might. We'll need to uproot the bigotry and racism that's plagued America for centuries, and crushing Long's cult of personality. Let us make Lincoln proud and bring old Dixie down once and for all. Have that done in 50 days, and we'll be able to finally start hunting down those terrorists that are plaguing us. And then we'll also have to work on the Federalists too, because I just bombed another installation in Illinois. And we have the trial of the America First Party. With the revolution over, the time comes now to deal with those that fought against us. Huey Long, so according to Earl Broder, could have been a great ally to socialism. We do admit that Long's plan for welfare was in the right direction, but his authoritarian practice was abhorrent. As Long's family and close associates are now in exile, we'll have to make do with putting the leaders that remain in chains. Francis Townsend has defended the actions of the AFP's core membership, saying that the radical militarism was due to the nature of Southern populism, not Huey Longism. Some in the jury have been swayed. The final decision is to, and then we have three options here. We can pardon the AFP leadership, convict the leaders of the AFP, or we can seize and arrest all party members. But we will instead follow Abraham Lincoln's example. Malice towards none, charity for all. We are going to pardon the AFP leadership. And there's a reason for that too, is that it actually gives us a few more generals to work with here, such as Lewis Puller here, as well as assortment of other generals as well. I'm happy, and we'll do the same thing as well for the Federalist one. Blueprint stealing. Excuse me. Finland's capitulated. Merchants are definitely making some advances here. I did strengthen the Germans though when I started this campaign, so hopefully that'll do something. But depending on how far they go, I might actually end up intervening in the war pretty early. But if that happens, so be it. I'll wait and see what they get to. If France manages to push into Belgium, then we'll go back and... Speaking of France, it looks like the Republic of France is trying to... longest bombing in Illinois now. You're landing there. Here's they've taken Bordeaux. Can't exactly remember if the French decided to switch the government they had here. So. But either way, in this part of the Let's Play, they are still the French Republic, so... I think they just switched their leadership, honestly. Okay. And then we have the 1940 presidential election. Today marks the 1940 presidential election. Which party will gain the most votes, and thus their nominee will become the next president of the Socialist Republic of America. Then we can choose the Socialist Labor Party, which is the Syndicalists, or we can go with the Socialist Party of America, which is the Radical Socialists. And I'm gonna stick with what we got. Socialists. Secretary, both Meyer and London. Well, congratulations, Norman Thomas, for officially being the first president of the Socialist Republic of America. Next. Supplies. Increase our targets here then too. It's like Canada's making a landing in Cornwall. But revolutionary memorials. With the revolution now over, countless memorials have gone up throughout the country to honor the sacrifices of the men and women that made this possible. While many honor those that fought for the revolution itself, there are also ones honoring the struggles like the Haymarket Square riot, as these memorials are made by the community. Nobody was there to check whether the statue was appropriate until the press got a hold of the story. Apparently, statues were erected honoring the 1916 Preparedness Day bombing and the 1920 Wall Street bombing. The press claimed how do you say that word? Erroneously, that the government approved of these memorials and are honoring the bombers. These statues were silently taken down, and an official apology was forced out of the city councils responsible for this mean-spirited action. Everybody shall be honored unless they were bombers. Indeed. We definitely do not support terrorists. Wow, the French are making good grounds in southern France there. Ooh. The fall of Kiev. Bad news from the Kingdom of Ukraine today, as the Russian army has just completed its assault upon the ancient capital. While initial reports suggested the Ukrainian defenders would be able to hold them at the bridges in a protracted siege, the many avenues over the river proved too much to hold. The Russian troops on either side of the river and scattered defenders on the Isles. Kiev has fallen to the invaders. With the thriving hub now in Russian hands, the rest of the Ukrainian lands are in jeopardy. While the Russian Socialist Republic has promised to respect the 700 years of history built up since the Mongols destroyed it in 1204, the Kievan memories are long. Invasions have never been kind to them, and they fear the worst. The Ukrainian situation appears dire. Their capital's temporarily been moved to Sevastopol here. It'll be interesting to see if they last that much longer. Looks like the commune's making a comeback here then. Yeah, it looks like they're going to be pushed back into the sea. Surprised the Union of Britain still has a foothold too in these little provinces here. Road's done. And now it's time to deal with the feds. Since the revolution broke out, we've accumulated an extensive list of political prisoners whom are awaiting trial. Now that the war is over, the time to judge these men has finally come. Although some amongst our leadership believe in rehabilitating these captives, other more radical comrades are eagerly calling for extreme revolutionary justice. Now it's time for the Federalists to take the stand. Looks like the Ottomans are kind of on their last legs here too. They've basically been pushed back to modern Turkey. Imagine probably gonna capitulate here soon. What is their war? Egyptian Ottoman. Federalist bombing in Iowa. Yeah, they're making ground-outs, that's for sure. Oh? It appears that Poland has had a revolt or something. Oh my. Things are certainly heating up then in the Union of Britain here too. And the fate of the Boy Scouts. The question has come up in regards to the Boy Scouts of America. Some within the Congress regard it as a more reactionary organization, notable for including a pledge that Scouts are loyal to their employers in the days before the Revolution, among other issues. To that end, a number within Congress believe that a new pioneer organization should be created similar to the ones of the socialist countries in Europe, called the Pioneers of America. Unlike the Boy Scouts, this organization will call for both boys and girls and supported by the government, and help make sure that the new socialist ideas are passed. While I do like the idea of girls being allowed to join the Boy Scouts, I don't like the idea of the government trying to impose its will on them, so instead, I am actually going to just have them leave it alone. Plus it gives us a little more stability too. We'll just pretend that the Boy Scouts instead basically become what it is today and allows girls to join it as well. So, and that's that.